Welcome back. In this lesson, we're going to talk about personas, also called avatars or customer profiles. Now, if you're watching this lesson, you should have already completed the survey questions in your blueprint spreadsheet. Okay, a persona is a semi-fictional bio of your ideal customer based on market research and real data about your existing customers. We use personas to provide structure and context for your positioning and messaging, making it easier to create content, maintain consistency, and communicate in the most relevant ways possible. Learning about your ideal customer, their pains, their goals, their demographic and psychographic traits, helps you create a strategy that's focused on attracting the most valuable leads and customers for your business. Now, if you're like most business professionals, you may feel that you already know your customers and their psychological drivers well enough. But consider this. When Procter & Gamble first launched Febreze, it was a major flop. And not because the product didn't work as advertised or because their marketing didn't reach the right audience. It was because they were missing a key insight into the psyche of their audience. After spending millions on product development and focus groups, they felt they had a strong grasp of their customer, but they were wrong. It was only after another round of research that they eventually figured out that the product's ability to eliminate odors wasn't enough. Homeowners needed a subconscious reward at the end of their cleaning sequence. So it really wasn't until after this discovery that they actually added scents to Febreze. And that gives homeowners a pleasant payoff during and after use, and pushing Febreze into one of P&G's most successful product lines. For an even higher profile example of how even the most established brands can make the wrong assumptions about their customers because of what they think they know, let's consider the new Coke debacle from the 1980s. Whoops. This just goes to show that no matter how long you've worked in your industry, owned your business, or have been working with your customers, there's almost certainly gold that can still be mined through some real research and real conversations with your customers. How well do you know things like what keeps your customers awake at night? How much risk is there to their job if they make the wrong choice? How much reward is available for making the right choice? Where your offerings sit in your customer's list of priorities? How success is measured for your customer's job role? And where they learn new skills and who they trust? Again, the value you get out of this exercise will be roughly equivalent to the level of effort you put into it. You can spend 30 minutes creating a persona, or you can take 3 days. Both of these durations are common, but I suggest you at least find yourself somewhere in between by stalking the social media profiles of some of your customers, or even better, get together by phone or in person so that you can dig into some of these questions one-on-one. In any case, develop a habit of constantly digging deeper into your customer's mind and updating your persona documentation with each new piece of information. As you use the missing link to connect and converse with a larger volume of prospects, you'll more easily see commonalities that you can use to optimize your messaging. For example, do a lot of these contacts work long hours or job hop a lot? Do they spend time at their kids' sporting events? Do they seem to love coming into the office on Mondays? Be on the lookout for trends and then use common sense to determine how those details might play into their challenges, their priorities, and their goals. Better yet, ask them directly anytime you have a chance. Next, let's talk about focus. It's in nearly every business's best interest to focus. As sales guru Dan Tyre says, the riches are in the niches. I know, it should be the riches are in the niches, but let's not be nerds. Focus is the best way to increase profits, expertise, quality, and demand, while also reducing complexity, failures, staffing challenges, and competition. It's also the best way to approach lead generation for 2 main reasons. First, having a specific customer profile will make it a lot faster and easier to find prospects during our LinkedIn outreach. The second and more important reason is that the more specific and relevant your messaging is, the easier it's going to be to attract and nurture prospects. Even if you serve across a wide range of business types, when it comes to your initial implementation of this program, identify a subset of your target and start there. You can always expand to additional niches or personas later, but know that you'll need unique messaging for each one, so we recommend a phased approach. Switching over to your blueprint spreadsheet, we'll go to the Personas tab where you can build one or more of your own personas. Now, one question we get a lot is about how many personas a company should have. Most smaller B2B businesses are going to have 2 to 5, but it can really vary. The only reason to document all of your personas now is so that you can prioritize them and find commonalities. But if you already know which one or two personas are your top priority, you only need to build those out right now. Your top priority might be based on your highest margin customer type, a new customer type that you want to build some momentum with, or the customer type that's most defined or the easiest to identify in significant volumes in LinkedIn. Now, I know that last part's probably going to be a bit difficult for you to gauge before getting to that part of the program, so just provide your options in the group comments and we'll be happy to help out. Again, since we don't recommend trying to pursue every persona right away, you just need to pick one to start with. If you feel that 2 or 3 of your personas are similar enough that you could use the same messaging across all of them, then they might not warrant being documented as unique personas in the first place. So let's talk about some of the primary things that commonly make personas unique. Significantly different job titles, different key challenges and goals, significantly different headcounts, age, education, and gender, and usually different industries. Ideally, we'll use the industry to make our messaging more relevant and effective. However, there's flexibility on this point. So if you, for example, provide HR-related legal services to small businesses in San Francisco, you can certainly create some successful messaging that allows you to prospect across multiple industries. Ultimately, you just need enough segmentation in your personas to ensure that the messaging you create later will resonate with the persona to whom it's targeted. So wherever you have enough range in your personas that those individuals are likely to have varying drivers, hot buttons, and perspectives, such as we might find when targeting, say, 20-year-olds through 60-year-olds, it's best to create multiple personas for that customer type. Back to the blueprint, let's walk through the fields together. First, you'll want to give your persona a name. Now, these tend to be a mix of industry, role, and name, but it really just needs to be something that helps you identify each one. Knowing details about your buyer persona's business, like industry and company size, helps you understand how many hats this person might be wearing on a daily basis or how competitive their market is. You can mouse over the notes here, so you can reference the links that are in those notes to see what options LinkedIn provides for that field or for that search. Adhering to these options isn't required, but it certainly will make it faster and easier to prospect when we get to that stage. For example, if you work with credit unions, you'll notice that LinkedIn doesn't break that out from banking. So we'd have a little bit more work to do when searching for credit union prospects. A focus on your persona's career and seniority level will help you determine what makes them successful and what they might spend time worrying about. You'll be able to use these details to provide messages that are catered specifically to them. We've left our sample answers in there for one persona to provide additional clarity on the kind of answers you're going to need. Traditionally, you'd list a single job title for a persona, but because of the way LinkedIn search works, we'll want to make sure we capture the largest number of relevant prospects. So, list as many variations of the job title as you can easily think of. Don't worry about getting everything, because LinkedIn offers predictive search that'll suggest even more variations based on actual LinkedIn profiles. Again, getting into the nuts and bolts of this particular persona, we can get additional information from things like seniority level. How is their job measured? Who do they report to? What are their geographies? In some cases, these can warrant separate personas, but not always. Age group, highest level of education, social networks where they spend most of their time, and where they get their information or training. If you happen to know their DISC profile, that can be highly beneficial when you're putting together messaging. There's also a link in the notes right here that gives you an idea of how to determine that personality style. Next, we want to list lifestyles and interests so we can get a better idea of the type of person they are even outside of the office. Speaking style, which again will often come back to that DISC profile. Then we're going to get into goals. We have 3 levels of goals that we're concerned with. Level 1 goals are the basics. Things like, we have a goal to attract more high-quality leads or increase revenue growth. Level 2 goals are where we get specific. Things like, we're currently in 90% of leads from referrals, but we want 20% to be from outbound prospecting by the end of 2022. We've put numbers or specifics to it. Our level 3 goals are critically important, and those are what offer significance to the goal. Things like, the market is slowing, so referrals are drying up. If they don't add a more proactive lead source and generate momentum now, layoffs are likely. The last thing that we want to enter is key challenges. Things like, because of dropping revenue, the board and leadership have approved very little advertising budget, so results from PPC and ad campaigns is very poor. Essentially, what we're talking about here is the main hurdles that prevent them from reaching the goals we just listed. All right, so it's time for you to go ahead and provide great information for at least your top priority persona before moving on to the next lesson. As always, I encourage you to ask questions in the group comments. We're all excited to offer guidance and perspectives. This is one of the larger and more thought-provoking homework assignments in the missing link, and we're here to help. Off you go. I'll see you in the next lesson.